Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast, West Denver. Here's a quick message from our sponsor, Localworks Wheat Ridge, provided by its Executive Director, Paige Piper.
Localworks is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to make Wheat Ridge a more vibrant and sustainable place to live and work. Our mission in action is programming that provides neighborhood revitalization and small business support, keeping and growing the businesses we know and love in Wheat Ridge. In simpler form, we provide connection. Connection to business, connection to community.
This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Meg Smith.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Good Neighbor Podcast, West Denver. Today, I'm here with Paige Piper from Wheat Ridge Localworks. How are you, Paige?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm well. Thank you so much for joining me today. So let's dive right in. Tell the listeners all about Localworks.
Yeah. So Wheat Ridge Localworks was established in 2005, actually as Wheat Ridge 2020 Inc. So if anyone's ever wanting to find our official tax forms, that's what you're going to want to Google search. And our trade name is now Localworks. But we are a nonprofit organization that partners with the city of Wheat Ridge to make Wheat Ridge a more vibrant and sustainable place to live and work. So we have a ton of programs that delve into the economic development areas as well as neighborhood revitalization. So we do things like the TLC Clean Up Days that are very popular in the summer between June and September, where any Wheat Ridge resident can bring all of their junk because we know that we accumulate junk. And on average, we serve about 400 cars per event and collect over 1,400 cubic yards of trash, which, to put that in perspective, that's as large as a Boeing 747. So it's a well-utilized program. We also do things like block party grants and individual dumpster grants for neighborhoods. We work with the city on civic engagement activities like Wheat Ridge 101 and Wheat Ridge 102, free courses where citizens can get more involved in city government and understand how change happens in a community. And then when it comes to economic development, Localworks is here to provide low interest loans for businesses. We host events specifically in different businesses each month to get the community understanding what it means to live and shop local. And we are also in the process of developing a makerspace. So our makerspace is being developed in a 7,500 square foot facility. And inside of it, there will be a welding shop, a woodworking shop, 3D printing, textiles, laser cutting. And the goal of this is that, it serves both the individual craftsperson as well as that small business owner. So lots of folks that might even have an Etsy shop in their garage, but don't have the room for something as large like a CNC machine can come and use this makerspace. So we're hoping to see actually businesses develop out of this in the next 5 years or so.
Oh, that's fantastic. So I already have my daughters in mind.
Yes, yeah.
Who are totally enamored with 3D printing. So that would be a neat way to, explore that a little bit. That's really
absolutely
cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, that's fantastic. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Localworks, former board member. We use the block party grants in my neighborhood. Yeah. Like we're very, interacting and really appreciate all the hard work that you and the team does for the city. I love it. And
we're a little biased, but we like it too. So
yeah, that's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your journey, how you ended up with Wheat Ridge Localworks.
Yeah, it's funny. I tell people that I accidentally stumbled into the nonprofit world. I had no intention in my undergrad to go into the nonprofit professional career. I actually wanted to be a journalist for a very long time. So I majored in journalism and took more of the business side of it with public relations, and took my first job out of undergrad at the Outdoor Lab Foundation as their marketing coordinator. And really, I was born and raised in Wheat Ridge, born and raised in Jeffco. So I went to Outdoor Lab. And I just kind of fell in love with how nonprofits work and how, you feel like you're doing something greater than yourself every single day when you go home, and ended up being at Outdoor Lab Foundation for quite some time and was named their executive director, and served in that role for about 2 years. And then took a little bit of time off from nonprofits and actually put my hand in the medical society world actually during COVID, probably one of the hardest times that you would want to switch into medical society world and supporting doctors. And just kind of realized that it wasn't for me. And so it was perfect timing that the Localworks job opened up, and being born and raised in Wheat Ridge, I was like, how great would it be to give back to the community that raised me? So that's how I got here.
Yeah, that's awesome. So of course I remember your departure from Outdoor Lab, because we were working together to promote Outdoor Lab, but I didn't put it together that it was a medical society during COVID.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that would have been a wild ride for sure. Well, we're very happy to have you back.
I am happy to be back. So
I love it. Well, that's awesome. So yeah, I think you're in a great spot. I think you're well suited, for this role. And I'm super excited for your leadership there and everything that you're, contributing to. So tell us, I think there's probably a lot of myths and misconceptions about Localworks because people just don't know. And you did a great job explaining kind of the initiatives that you're working on already. But what are common misconceptions that you find yourself addressing a lot of the time? Because probably our listeners are experiencing some of that right now.
Yeah, I think one of the big misconceptions really comes from like the business support side and how Localworks supports businesses, because we're not a membership model for businesses. So unlike a chamber or a business association, Localworks operates on a one-for-all business model. Businesses don't have to be a part of Localworks to get served by our mission. And rather than doing business to business, networking and events that, is the bread and butter of things like the Wheat Ridge Chamber and the Wheat Ridge Business Association in our community, Localworks is more the resident to business piece. So we're trying to put residents inside of local businesses to shop and live local. So, a good example of this business-wise is actually a campaign that we launched in October called Shop Wadsworth, where we are encouraging people to foot traffic the businesses that are on the Wadsworth corridor that are in the midst of that construction as a part of a campaign to celebrate that we're about 50% of the way through the Improved Wadsworth project. And so reminding folks to go visit their local and favorite businesses on that corridor and give them some love. And so that's, just one example that Localworks is the resident to business piece rather than something like a chamber or a business association. And then I think, too, when I talked a lot about this in the programming that we do, is the neighborhood revitalization piece. I think it's honestly really special that Wheat Ridge has something like Localworks. It's not common in communities. You don't find Localworks type organizations in Arvada or, Lakewood or things like that. So it's special to have that for the neighborhood revitalization piece and making people feel like, rather than just living in Wheat Ridge, that they have a home in Wheat Ridge.
Nice. I love it. Yeah. And so many good things come from that, from both of those, roles. I love the neighborhood revitalization. Obviously, we've tapped into that in Apple Villages where we are in Wheat Ridge. So that's awesome. And then do you guys have any events or things coming up that you want to share from a seasonal perspective based on, the timing of today's interview?
Yeah, absolutely. So Localworks has started an annual fundraising event that we started last year. We're bringing back this year called Barstool Bingo. It's if anyone's ever played Texas Bingo, how it works is it's kind of like playing bingo in a football pool. So you're not actually playing with a whole card of bingo. You're just buying individual bingo squares. We have an amazing donor who has some chickens on his property. And so we have built a specialty coop that we bring to the property so the chickens are safe and happy in their natural home. We put them in the coop. We live stream them to a location and people are watching these chickens. And where the chicken decides to relieve itself, that's the winner of the bingo round. Hence Barstool Bingo name. So we are holding this every year on Colorado Gives Day. This year it's December 5th. We'll be over at Esther's at Gold's Marketplace. So if anyone wants to come out, it's a super fun event and a great way to give back to the Localworks mission. All funds raised that night go to our mission of making Wheat Ridge a more vibrant and sustainable place to live and work. Last year we raised about $9,000. This year we are aiming for $15,000. So we'll see if we get there. And
awesome.
And then after that, I mean, summer's going to be here before we know it, which I know maybe people do want to hear that. Maybe we want to get through the winter season, but time is just flying. But Ridge Fest is scheduled for Saturday, June 29th this year, and we'll actually be over at Anderson Park. We're doing a little bit of a change of scenery. And so we'll be in the front half of Anderson Park and all the normal festivities that people can expect.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Always look forward to that. I love the venue. Anderson Park is fantastic. So
yeah,
can't go wrong there. So tell our listeners a little bit about you. We like to get to know you as a person as well. So when you're not working on behalf of Wheat Ridge and Localworks, what are you doing for fun?
Yeah. I mean, so I am a big reader. I love reading books. And right now I'm in a phase of like Emily Henry S type books. If folks know what those are, they're kind of like the classic airplane book that has that little romance for you that just makes you smile. I'm also a big runner. So I try and run every single day. My husband and I, we love Frisbee golf and regular golf, and our 4 fur baby animals keep us very busy. So we are our house is almost a zoo at this point. So we're busy with our animals.
I love it. Yeah. I think we could be a registered zoo right now too, because we can't say no. Every time the kids want a pet, we're like, okay. I don't know. And then we're like, who's taking care of that?
Right.
So that's awesome. So, tell us about any hardships. Obviously, I remember the hardship of COVID that had the impact that it did on Localworks. And I was, on the board to help with the sustainability of the events that we then weren't having. So I was that board member who honestly didn't have much to offer in the end of it, because it was all, fiscal and those conversations, which had nothing to do because we couldn't do the events that we were doing. So I recall that you weren't with Localworks at that time, but tell us, since you've been with Localworks, what are any challenges that have impacted the organization and how it improved in the end, the operations of Localworks?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think coming out of COVID, especially nonprofit organizations, they've really had to figure out what is the funding model and how is it sustainable? Because COVID changed a lot of things. And, we are in the midst of potentially hitting a recession. And so some of those, values that people have of giving have changed. And so how do you maintain, individual giving for a nonprofit and, private foundations and grant making? Because some of those things have changed too. So I would say, over the past year and a half that I've been with Localworks and leading the organization, the biggest challenge has just been diversifying our funding and making sure that we are finding the right partners to make sure our mission just goes further and for longer. I think too is, lots of people have had very different experiences with Localworks, and Localworks has gone through a lot of iterations since 2005. And there was a time that Localworks, went through about 3 different executive directors in the span of 5 years. And it's really, really hard to maintain a strategic model and maintain trust in a community that you serve when everything's kind of going up and down and they're not sure what direction it's going. And so I would say a big hardship is winning back the trust of the community that Localworks is here to support them, and realigning what our mission really means and why we do what we do. I think that we've done an incredible job with the board of directors and the team that I have. And I am happy to say, I think that hardship is almost behind us. So,
yay!
Yeah.
Excellent. Yes. Well, you're definitely bringing some stability and expertise. And so I think that you're probably right about that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So how should residents connect with Localworks? What are the easiest ways to get in touch if they have questions or want to get involved?
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways. So messaging us on Instagram or Facebook is great. We always get back to you, hopefully within 1 business day is the goal. Also on our website, we have a ton of information. We actually launched a brand new website. Our year anniversary will be January 1st. So the new website, it's more user-friendly. It's bright and colorful and kind of has a little characteristics of Wheat Ridge as you snoop around it. But we do have a general email address that's blasted all over the website. It's reception@wearelocalworks.org. So that email address is monitored on a daily basis. So any questions that come up, that's the best email for people to shoot us over a message.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really enjoyed this, and I'd love to have you back. We can talk more about Colorado Gives Day.
Absolutely.
And the bar stool bingo.
Yes, it's quite the event.
That's so fun. Awesome. Well, thanks again. I really enjoyed chatting with you today. We'll do it again soon.
Sounds great. Thanks, Meg.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpwestdenver.com. That's gnpwestdenver.com or call 720-295-9588.